Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. The next game that I'm going to analyze was sent to me by Traxlerman, who by default must be an epically cool dude because Traxler Gambit is an epically cool opening, so sporting that name indicates that you must be a cool player. He's black, so his actual name is Zach Calderon with a rating of 1911, and he lives in the States. And yeah, he sent me this game, which actually is an over-the-board game, the second one that I'm analyzing on this channel, over-the-board game. So hopefully, definitely guarantees quality and good entertainment. And in order to enjoy that, we are going to switch into chess-based mode, and I'm going to go into training mode so that you're not spoiling anything. And since Zach alias Traxlerman is black, we are going to watch the game from black's point of view. Queen's Gambit declined, and white went for this early swap, which leads us to the Karlsbad structure, which is basically identified by these four black pawns. This one is going to go to c6 very soon, versus this three, which indicates the strategies for both sides. Actually, white is aiming to create a pawn weakness by the so-called minority attack on the queen side, whereas black is trying to aim for some sort of king side initiative after completing development. The only reason why I am not strongly in favor of playing such openings because it is played with a very rigid structure, so there's very little room for learning about different pawn structures. But that aside, it is a perfectly sound opening, and one should always aim for playing such openings. Okay, bishop g5, bishop e7. I will speed up the beginning because yeah, there is not much to be mentioned right until this point, because here white played knight e2. Now this is a bit unusual, although yeah, there were lots of games played with knight e2 in this structure. I favored the more conservative old school knight f3 followed by castle followed by rook b1 b4 plans. Knight e2 indicates that white might hint some sort of f3 e4 plans, but I think that yeah, it's not necessarily the best that white can do in this structure. Anyway, knight e2, rook e8, standard stuff, preparing for regrouping the knight in the king side, where it stands quite better than d7. It's not blocking the bishop off, and it actually puts this bishop in an awkward spot because the knight from g6 covers both of the squares where this bishop could retreat to. So yeah, eventually the g5 bishop will be swapped off for a knight. Okay, castles, knight f8, and yeah, that is as per indicated beforehand. So the knight from f8 covers h7, so that this diagonal attack is neutralized. He's aiming to g6, as per said before. I forgot that I put these arrows before in. Right, rook b1, bishop d6. I suppose knight g6 would have been legit too, but this is actually even more subtle, because now if the bishop takes an f6, then the queen can take it back and then go on to the attack, whereas an f6 bishop is more or less useless and has to regroup to d6. So actually this is more accurate. h3, he had to play it because if he goes with the consistent b4, then it falls for a cheapie. Bishop takes h6 is an embarrassing trick that most of us would have fallen for at least once, and after king takes knight g4, black is going to mop up with an extra pawn and the raging attack. Please note that the bishop on g5 is hanging. The general rule of thumb is that whenever you have got unguarded pieces on the board, you have to watch out for tactics. Right, so he played h3 first, which in light of what happened later in the game is not overly logical. f3 would have made probably more sense. Knight g6 and f3. So now, yeah, we just slapped ourselves in the face really hard. h6, bishop took. Please note that on bishop takes g6, we would take back here. Actually, we could take back either way. But yeah, this one wins the pawn, so I'm talking nonsense, because now the e3 is unguarded and g6 is still hanging. Yep, right, so he had to take that knight, and after queen takes, I think that black has got a very comfortable position, even though e4 is coming. Without the dark squared bishops, this structure, especially the d4 pawn, feels a little bit loose. Black played queen g5, very clever, already pointing out a lot of weak dark squares. You can see that the black bishop and the black queen, they're operating beautifully on these dark weakened squares. Oh, and of course it's a side effect. Bishop takes h3 is threatened now. e5, bishop took, and rook f2. So now black has gained a pawn, but his kingside attack has been slowed down to quite some degree because of this e5 wedge pawn and is blocking off the diagonal. Nonetheless, the attack is still happening. Knight h4, excellent move. King h2. And it feels like we have got lots of tactical opportunities here, and I think that black actually got carried away here a little bit, because I don't see any reasons why he shouldn't have taken bishop g2 in this position, threatening knight takes f3 next. It seems like white is falling apart, but to his credit, he went for something a lot more spectacular, and he took on f3 with the knight. The idea was, of course, that the rook takes is failing to mate. And if the pawn takes back, then queen h4 opens up some very nasty discovery checks, plus the rook on f2 now is hanging. Very nice plan, by the way. King g1, cool stuff. And bishop took on e5, another very gutsy decision. The idea now is that after the recapture, the rook is going to join the attack with elementary power. So we have to say that yeah, Zach is in his element in this game and is playing really well. Okay, takes, and f4, that was pretty much the only move to prevent the rook to go to g5. However, now a very standard tactical trick that now the queen will be replaced by the rook on the h file, and we are still aiming for the same mating pattern. 2 pieces down, doesn't matter. The attack is going on really wild. King h2 and rook h5. And to be perfectly honest, I think that it's time to wrap it up, because the game is over. The mate can't be really stopped anymore without losing a ton of material. He played knight g3, sensible, and rook h4, calmly getting out of the way. Seems like the best way to continue the attack. Knight f5, and after bishop check, he got mated in a beautiful way. The knight can still take the rook, but after queen h3, king g1, queen h1, a beautiful checkmate arises with a rook and 2 pieces down, but we know that doesn't matter. Let me rewind it though a little bit, because I was a little bit curious about one thing here, which is that okay, I just found another beautiful mate. Look at this. If bishop e2, then bishop f1 check, king g1 is forced, queen takes g3, king f1 is forced, and rook h1 is another beautiful mating pattern that could have occurred. So yeah, it's lots of lovely motifs. I think that one of the best chances for white to try to hold on to this game was somewhere here. Yes, I think king g1 was not necessarily best. Something rings me a bell that somehow we could have left the rook on under attack. I think he actually could have taken this. And I think that this line is not winnable for black. I did look at this position beforehand, but I conveniently forgot my own analysis. And after takes, king takes, from memory once again, I think that this position can't be won. Rook e3 seems to be very tempting, but now g1 pair is dead, and if check, we just drop back. And I think that it is meant to be a perpetual check, and this was white's only chance. And now we are going to make myself look like a complete fool. We will turn on Houdini to prove me totally wrong. Watch this. Not completely. Although according to Houdini, black is significantly better after queen f2 check, rook e3 check, whatever, it's really just a minor nuance, and then bishop f5 covering the mate on h3. But after g6 it looks like black is going to win the bishop, and then his attack is going to still go on. So let's go back a little bit more to see what was to be done here. So gf, queen h4, king g1, no, ed. So hang on, I did say ed, queen f2, king h3. Oh, knight g3, that's right. Knight g3 is the move. Shush, I hate this whistle. Knight g3, because that blocks a check. Please note this motif is a very famous stuff, because if a knight blocks a check from a queen, right, like placing it right next to the queen or in between a queen and the queen can't give a check, because every single square where it could give a check is covered very conveniently by the knight. And if I play rook e3, then again either rook g1 or rook g1. defense. But probably it's better to give a check because you don't want to lose that bishop right away. Sorry, so let's give a check and then rook g1. And it seems like actually, yeah, now it looks very drawish. But even here the game would have been very interesting because of the very unusual material imbalance would have granted still plenty of room for playing for black. So yeah, I really enjoyed this game. It was a really good quality stuff, especially for someone, and I don't mean in an offensive way, but someone rated 1900 playing such a classic and beautifully played attack is really noteworthy. So well done, Zach. Well done, Traxlerman, and yeah, keep on sending me games, guys, so that we can keep on rocking. Thanks a lot for watching. I will be back with more soon.